1992.
Okay.
I went to Bloomfield High School in Greene County, Indiana, which is about 45 minutes from Bloomington.
Okay. Okay. And when did you and Jeannie first meet?
We actually met in January of 1995. We were a blind date. So we actually talked a little bit on the phone at the end of the year '94, but we didn't meet until '95. And we started dating in January and actually got married in December. So it was
Wow, quite a year.
Yeah, wonderful. It's easy for me to say that it's a positive influence and has grown, and I can say that in all sincerity. But I will say we had a sea change in our life with Grant being born. Growing up in the church, I took very much for granted what the church provides, what it represents, what I can get out of it, what I give to it, and also being a pastor's son, I had grown weary of some of the elements of that, and in the light of what you give and what that means. And my home, I've always felt like I've had a good relationship with Jesus and with God, and prayer is a part of my life. It's also a very private part of my life. When we came to First Christian, we were not here very long before Grant was born, and Grant's circumstances were dire. They were extremely dire. He did not have very good odds of survival, let alone of a positive outcome. And we went through that, and at some other point, I'd love to have a conversation with you about my faith experience there, because it was there's something to witness to. There was what I believe to be a direct interaction between me and my Lord during that time. I am IT manager over their clinical data warehouse. It's actually over all their data warehouse. I am responsible for their clinical data. So that's things like figuring out people's general health as it relates to claims that physicians provide, processing lab data, RX pharmaceutical data. We also, the thing that really I enjoy a lot is I play a big part of what's called HEDIS. But what that really is we determine within our individual plans how people are doing with respect to preventative care and their overall health maintenance. I'm trying to, in my life, try to sort the distractions and the focus, because I'll admit I'm a career-oriented individual. As it relates to my faith life, that can often be a distraction more than actually something that helps build and support it. I'm usually looking at how do I apply my faith life to work, but I'm not doing that backflow. How do I apply my work life to my faith and align those things? And I'm trying to reprioritize those and make sure I'm not great at it, and I'm working on it. But in terms of my personal faith, sometimes the band and the music is what pulls me in when I'm weary. When Grant was born, Bruce came to the hospital when Jeannie was in the hospital before Grant was born, and we had a lot of conversations, and Amanda as well. And in some of those conversations, it kind of came up that, boy, I play guitar, and one of the reasons I really enjoyed First Christian was the praise band, and they just did a great job. And if they ever need, I would be interested in playing if they ever wanted. So shortly after he was born, that invitation came. But you probably heard Grant had a lot of extenuating circumstances when he was born, so I couldn't really integrate much at that time. So it was probably about when he was a year old. I came in and started playing with him. It brings so many different elements together for me. Part of it, though, music has been a part of who I am, even to my earliest memories of childhood. My dad was the kind, he sang in the car. He sang just when he was making a peanut butter sandwich. He was humming or singing, and then he plays guitar. The kind of the Pete Seeger, Peter Paul Mary kind of influences.
And he was a Methodist pastor.
He was a Methodist pastor. And so I grew up in that environment, and like I believe music is definitely an expression, and I believe it's one of the holiest of expressions out there. I think it can cut through some of the inefficiencies of life. When Grant was really little, we had a lot of fun with. He would come down and he would actually dance, almost in the aisle, and it would bring me great joy. I think by now it's probably old hat for them, and they probably don't see any different than when I saw my kids singing when I saw my parents singing in the choir. And frankly, just listening to folks like Van, who just are amazing, and how they can really kind of create a pocket, right, for the singers to sit in. The ones that really pop for me are the Bible school, and for really I'd say a couple of reasons, and one to be very fair, we want to honor worship time, and we want to be respectful of worship time, and sometimes that can take the form of constraints in terms of creativity, and for good reason. But when you're in Bible school and you're playing for kids, you can dial up the crunch a little bit, right? You can turn the volume up a little bit and let your hair hang down a little bit, and that's fun. It's an element of fun that not only is it fun for us, and I feel comfortable using the collective there, but it's fun for the kids too. And if we're having fun, they see that. If they're having fun, we see that. We feed off each other. The congregation is very, very supportive. There's probably not a single time that I played that I haven't had at least one person come up after the fact and say something along the lines of, "Well, I really appreciate what you guys do," or "I really enjoyed this," or "Good job, you did a great job." Rejoice in the Lord, O you righteous. Praise benefits the upright. Praise the Lord with the lyre. Make melody to him with the harp of 10 strings. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully on the strings with loud shots.